let's move on to our second bowl of the part 2 betting preview. Let's go to Thursday, December 22nd, another day with just one bowl game. We're going to the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, Thursday, December 22nd, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Baylor against Air Force, over under sitting at 48.5. I played Air Force here. I played them at 6. I was waiting for 7, was never going to come. I think the line is 5.5 most ever, would still play it there. If you've listened to podcasts of ours in the past, I assume that you knew that I was going to play Air Force ahead of time before I even played it. Service academies and bowls. You go in the Action Labs database, 70% against the spread since 2005. Go all the way back to 1990, 70% against the spread as well. Why? Well, a lot of times these teams aren't, the service academies aren't playing in the college football playoff. They're playing in bowls that some teams might not take seriously. Well, one thing you can count on, a service academy will always be motivated, will always be ready to play. And the other thing here is, like, everyone's like, oh, you have more time to prepare for an option, so it favors the team playing a service academy in a bowl. That would be maybe true if a team actually spent like 30 full days preparing for the option. That's not what these teams are doing. They're traveling, they take a break, there's exams. And the last thing that anyone wants to do in a meaningless bowl is, number one, prepare for, and then during the bowl, play a triple option. It's just a nightmare. It's like going to the dentist. And that's why a lot of times you see these teams that, Baylor last year was in a big bowl game. They won the Big 12. They're 6-6 now. They're playing Air Force. Motivation angle here is Air Force. The other thing is, you look at Baylor's run defense stats, take a look in the trenches, they're vulnerable there. And I think Air Force can take advantage. This is easy for me. It's Air Force all the way. Make this line about a field goal, and then throw in motivation, and I think Air Force wins this game.
Yeah, I don't have money on this game on the side or the total because I spent a deep dive going through Dave Aranda and his history of defending the triple option, because really this whole game comes down to, can Baylor defend Haaziq Daniels and Brad Roberts? Aranda's not faced a triple option attacks in his 3 years while he was at Baylor. The last time I could find any kind of remote thing where Aranda prepared for a triple option was the 2019 LSU National Championship team. Their first game out of the gate, they beat Georgia Southern 55-3. But does that even count? Because you had multiple weeks of camp in August to get prepared for that triple option. So Baylor's just 92nd stuff rate. That's one of those primary things that we look at when you go up against a triple option team. They're not filling the A, B, and C gap. Don't think they can keep contained either. They have one of the lowest numbers nationally in tackles for loss, which kind of surprised me. But that kind of leads to why they fired their defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts.
Yeah.
Not really a surprise. And I think the one thing that really sticks out in my mind is they got blown out 31-3 by Kansas State. And that was a really hard bet for our podcast to make. Like, I was in on Baylor against TCU the following week. I think the spread was like 2. And Aranda came out in the press. He didn't throw his defensive coordinator underneath the bus, but all he could talk about how is our fundamentals are lacking. We are not lined up in the right place. Our communication with the sideline is poor. Some weeks we show up, we look great. Some weeks we show up, we look like a disaster. Dave Aranda is like the nicest guy in the world. He wouldn't come out and say that Ron Roberts is not coaching our defense up properly. So where I get there's like this area, this cloud over this game that I can't handicap is, does Aranda get hands-on with his defense, say, I'm not going to go in these 13 different schemes that he has where it's like it's like a 2-4-5, it's like a 1-7-5. Like, I mean, he's got so many different variations of how he lines up his front seven. Does he chuck all that out and say, we're going to go 4-3, which he's a 3-4 guy? Like, there's just everything. The puzzle piece for what Aranda doesn't fit to defend the triple option. And can he get that done in the middle of recruiting? It just doesn't seem likely. Now, on the other side of the ball, Baylor's all freshman, everything. Richard Reese, he's got 14 TDs on the season. He did not have a single fumble on the year. And so that's going to be, big for them. It's really going to be their only offense because you don't know what you're going to get with Blake Shapen. His big time throws and turnover worthy plays, they're both down from his freshman season. He's not making as many good throws. He's not making as many mistakes. But he has looked horrific in a few games this season. I wouldn't be surprised if Baylor's out on the portal looking for somebody else for this offseason. And, you know, we knew that their weapons, Baylor's weapons, have been a problem all season. We knew coming in, one of the reasons we took an under on their season win total is because they were completely depleted outside of the tackle box, right? Everybody a wide receiver, everybody, you know, that was a target for Blake Shapen was gone. So I make the game at 5.5. I can't go against you saying you're taking Air Force. I just don't have enough information to give anybody support on betting on Baylor.
Yeah, the other thing is that the Baylor passing attack is you know, the way that Shapen plays and the weapons are limited. He needs time, and Air Force can get after the quarterback. I think top 25 in sack rate, so that's another factor. But yeah, this is just Service Academy. Let's show value in the line. Blind, just almost a blind automatic play for me.
It's worth noting that Air Force's offense really, maybe it's style, maybe it's the Mountain West Conference, but there just was not a lot of points coming down the stretch. 13 against San Diego State, 13 against Army, 14 against Boise, 24 against Colorado State. Those are 4 of the last 5 weeks that they played. You know, none of those defenses are world beaters there. I know Army's a rock fight always, so you can throw that out, but only 24 against Colorado State's defense. It just seemed like down the stretch, they ran out a little bit of a steam. Maybe that plays into the under. But you know, all you need to do is get within 5.5 though.
Yeah, but their defense played really well down the stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense has been really good all year. And then San Diego State, for what it's worth, I mean, they closed the year winning at San Diego State, 13-3. And San Diego State has a really good defensive line and always does a good job against the triple option. So yeah, give me the Falcons here.